So I had to do a follow-up video on Syncthing. So I've been running Syncthing for about a year, and well, maybe a little longer than a year. I did a video about 10, 11 months ago on it, and I want to do a follow-up because sometimes people ask the question, are you still using it? The answer is yes, and it's also I'm using it more. So here's what's happened. So I was using it and it was working great. And then I said, let's expand what I'm doing with it. So this became a great solution for backing up servers and a few other things. And I said, well, let's just let Syncthing handle it. So I used to have the offsite backups that are created by the servers automatically going to two locations after they backed up. And I said, well, let's just let Syncthing handle that because it's got such a great reputation for it. So here's the kind of the layout of our network and how it works. We have the office servers, and they're all running on a virtual stack. So I only have one computer showing here, but it's multiple virtual machines. Not real relevant, but the design, it has kept it simple. I'm not the best at drawing these diagrams, and they take time. The office servers each have SSH keys to a user directory on the FreeNAS that goes into Syncthing. So what they do is each of the databases create a backup, and they do it hourly during our business hours. They create backups to their database, encrypt them with PGP key, then they drop them over here on the FreeNAS server. And then the FreeNAS server running Syncthing synchronizes with my home server. That's my offsite backup. An excuse to have a server at the house as well. So they're doing a constant sync, and I have it rescanning and checking every 15 minutes to see if there's new files. Syncthing actually wants to sync a little bit faster than that, but it didn't need to chew up any extra traffic because hourly backups, 15-minute check for files, they land over here pretty quick. And the backups are reasonably small, so this happens pretty fast. Now, all the other business files we have a couple of computers. This is our office here, and this is, Tom's house. So we have a couple office computers that are connecting to it. And that syncs up all of our business documents and general things we're doing, like accounting and spreadsheets and all the BS that you got to have for having a business. And this allows me and Marvin to share files very easily in real time. And because these are both desktops here, there's no external access to it. And this external access is restricted via the firewall between the home server through an encrypted tunnel. So we keep in sync here. Then at home, in case I need to access some of those documents are also synced up across here and goes back to my house, and if I want, on my laptop. Now I don't have my laptop syncing to here because it's much faster to sync local copies of the files right to my computer while it's at home. I mostly use my laptop at home as well. So this keeps a copy of all those files here on my laptop, here on the server, in which I get them at high speed, and then of course they're backed up between these locations. Now, there's a couple risks with Syncthing or any type of file system synchronization tools because if something bad happens to a file, right away it happens to all revisions of the file. So this is how I mitigate that risk. Here's my FreeNAS box, and this is the folder that everything goes into. So it's the Jupyter volume Syncthing data, and I have it every day. I create a snapshot of it. And when it's doing this, here's all the snapshots that I can jump back to. They're just auto-created, and if you notice in here, it's keeping them for 30 days. So I always have a lot of snapshots at the ready that I can just restore to. So if something catastrophic happened that cascaded through all of this, that would easily be remedied by just rolling back to a snapshot. So if I deleted all the files on one computer, yes, it would cascade delete across the others or fill them up with bad data, but I've got 30 days of snapshots I can just roll back to as needed using FreeNAS. One of the big advantages of ZFS, keeps it really simple. Now here's it actually working. You can see it scanning. So this is the FreeNAS box. And it's like the graphics files. I updated a YouTube template, so it syncs that. And now I sync offsite. Let's go back to my home box. I sync the graphics files. So you'll see the same file name that says last one was updated there. And there's the server backups and there. But then when it gets to my computer at home, it's only syncing the business files and graphics. I don't need the server backups also copied to my laptop. Now I also have this folder called Tom Backup, and what I do is occasionally take entire snapshots of my home drive. Not very often because not much changes on it, but that snapshot of my home drive is a snap in time of how it looked. I do that to get all the random files and config files that it may be changed. I run that kind of as needed. It backs up all kinds of data that's mostly static, so it doesn't need, I don't run that all the time. So this one's on a really low interval, so it's not re-going through all the files on there, especially due to the size of the files. So there's a 122 gigs and 63,000 files in there. So overall, what I'm syncing at home is about 133 gig and 65,000 files. But something I don't sync is off-site is my videos. This syncs with my computer. There's just another 115 gigs, and I just reduced it by archiving a lot of stuff. I'm still not too sure what to do with the archives currently. I just store them on a pair of separate hard drives because I'm not sure what to do with all the originals I do of all my YouTube videos. I haven't really decided yet. I keep all the processed ones, which is down to 115 gigs, but it's all the source and a B-roll that you create. So if I shoot a video, there may be several files that are very large of video. I only needed a few minute clip out of all of them, so I have a compiled finished version that gets uploaded to YouTube, and I keep one local copy of the finished material. But yeah, what to do with all the other stuff, it adds up really quick, so occasionally I just offload it to a couple drives, and a pair of them, because these drives are not plugged in or idle, not at all on, so I'm afraid that one day I'll turn them on and they will stop coming on, so that I have two of them to help try and mitigate the risk, but I don't know what to do with all the data because it's gathering up. Anyways, so I keep this synced with my computer here, and here's the graphics one. Oops, sorry, and the video one. So as I'm updating videos on my computer and downloading them, it's right away backing it up. Now, I thought about putting a RAID array in my computer, and I said, well, I have a RAID array sitting in the back office here, and they sync rather quickly. So as soon as I'm dropping files on my computer, it's automatically taking them over to the FreeNAS and throwing them on that RAID array. So there's a copy on my computer and there's a copy on FreeNAS. Once again, it falls into some of the files that I'm revising and doing revisioning on, which does take up some space, but it also lets me, if I screw up a video file, go backwards. I can pull it off of the FreeNAS box by restoring from a snapshot if needed. So I am still using Syncthing. It's still working absolutely wonderful and syncing everything. I don't really have any issues with it. It works really well. It's not too taxing on the computer or the system. And it's a great way to keep just everything completely up to date on these. It's an open source alternative to Dropbox file syncing, but I think it's a little bit better in some ways because you control all the data, you control all syncing, revisionings, and all the features of it. So if you haven't watched my other Syncthing video, you want to know some of the details about it. They've made improvements in performance to it, but in features it seems fairly the same a year later, but it works so much better. Like it actually keeps taking less memory and less processing power to do the same thing with more data. So hats off to the Syncthing team and how effective they are at programming all this. But yeah, I just want to do this follow-up video to say, yes, I'm still using it. Yes, it still works great. And I still think it's a great solution if you're looking to synchronize files between even offsite or sharing with a friend or however you want to do it if you're looking for an open source alternative to Dropbox. Once again, if you like the content here, like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some more follow-up videos on some of the ones I did because I like to cover some of the I'm still using the tech or what I think of this technology, that I was excited about when I did the video. Am I still excited about it later? I think that's important, or when there's feature changes to it. All right, thanks again for watching.